You've had these packets for a while. All right, so like I said, we're looking at writing linear equations. So one of the reasons we need to solve variables in chapter 1 is because you need to be able to solve your variables and equations in chapter 2. So in number 1, you have 8 equals 4m. So in order to solve for 8 by itself for the m, you're going to divide both sides by 4. So we get m equals 2. To solve for b, you're going to first multiply 3 times 8. Subtract over the 24. And we get b is equal to negative 30. In number 3, you're going to subtract 5 from both sides. So you get negative 7 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. And we get x equals negative 7/3. It says chapter 2 outline on the front page with like dates. Yes. All right, so the first form we talk about or have looked at so far this year in chapter 2 is slope-intercept. The slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. We've focused a lot on the slope recently and the b value, which is the y-intercept. We should recall that the y-intercept occurs when the line crosses the y-axis and the x value is 0. So again, the y-intercept occurs when the line crosses the x-axis and the y value is 0. So it says find the slope of each line by writing the equation in y equals mx plus b form. So we're going to solve for y. So we add 7x to both sides. Divide by 2. And I get y equals 7/2 x plus 4. When you divide by 2 on the left, you have to divide everything by 2 on the right. We don't want to put these in our calculators. We don't want to turn them into decimals. You want to keep it as 7/2 because that tells me my slope is 7/2. So if I was graphing this, that would tell me up 7 and right 2. So that 7/2 has a meaning. It has a value. It tells me something when I'm graphing. Okay, number 2. I have 3x plus 2y equals 1. So again, solving for 2y, we subtract 3x from both sides. So I get 2y equals negative 3x plus 1. You always want to put the x in front of the variable because you're looking for y equals mx plus b. We divide every part by 2. And I get y equals negative 3/2 x plus 1/2. So again, that 1/2 represents my y-intercept. It represents the value when x is 0. And my slope is negative 3/2. That tells me down 3 and right 2. So once again, solve for y. So we subtract 2/3 from both sides. And then to get rid of something that is multiplied by a half, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. So we're going to multiply all parts by 2. So I get y equals -4/3 x. Because a fraction times a whole number only multiplies the top. 2 times 1 is 2. So ax plus by equals c. We know that this is called standard form. So we can take standard form and put it in slope-intercept by solving for y. So I get y equals -a divided by b, x plus c divided by b. So what that means is that in general, the slope in standard form is represented by -a divided by b. Means that the slope is always represented by -a divided by b. Can I write an equation of a line that passes through the given points? So it says it intersects the y-axis at -2. That is the same as representing my y-intercept or my b value. So that's really like the point 0, -2. So if I have 2 points, I can find a slope. So again, it's y2 minus y1. So minus a minus becomes a positive. X2 minus x1, so that also becomes a positive. -2 plus 1 is -1. 0 plus 4 is 4. So what that means is the slope of my line is -1/4. The b value is -2. So if you're plugging into y equals mx plus b, this is my m, that is my b. This is y equals -1/4 x minus 2. Because my m is -1/4 and my b is -2. Okay, the line has a slope 4/3 and passes through the point 0, 4. So again, it tells me my m is 4/3. That point is my y-intercept again because x is 0. So that means my b value is 4. So my equation is y equals 4/3 x plus 4. Slope-intercept is the form you know the most. It's mx plus b. The slope-intercept form is the form we know the most, but the form that is the most helpful is point slope. Point slope will always work. So like point slope is the one that you can memorize, and all the other ones will work because of it. So the equation of a line in point slope form is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, where x1 and y1 are your coordinates of a point on the line, and m is the slope of the line. So we have the slope and points given to us. And then it's asking for standard form. So we plug in y minus y1, which is 5, equals m, which is 3, x minus x1. So the minus a minus turns to a positive. We're going to distribute our 3. So we get y minus 5 equals 3x plus 3. We're going to move the x to the left and the 5 to the right. But in standard form, the x value can't be negative. So we're going to flip all the signs. So negative 3x becomes positive. Positive y becomes negative. Positive 8 becomes negative. So I have 3x minus y equals negative 8. Number 6, your slope is 2. Your point is 4, negative 2. So you have y minus y2 equals m x minus x2. So minus a minus turns to a positive. Distribute your 2. Move the x to the left. The number to the right. So we get negative 2x plus y equals negative 10. Because again, negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. And then we have to multiply everything by negative 1 because the x value can't be negative. So again, these are standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So I'm going to change the directions. I know they still say standard. We're going to actually put them in slope intercept. So you have y minus 6 equals 5, 6, x minus 5. Distribute your slope. Add the 6 to the other side. Now, because we're putting it in slope intercept, we're not moving the y or the x. And then negative 25 plus negative 25, 6 plus 6 Well, 6 is kind of like the same as 36 over 6. So 36 minus 25 gives a positive 11 over 6. And number 8, now we're not given a slope. We're only given 2 points. So in number 8, we actually have 2 steps we have to do. I need to first find the slope. Which is 2. Then plug in, and now I can pick either point to plug into my formula. So I could do y minus a minus 3 equals 2x minus 4. Or y minus a minus 1 equals 2x minus 5. Both will get me to y equals 2x minus 11. So if I solved both of those, either way, I would get y equals 2x minus 11. That's super weird. Okay. So just a few more examples. We have the 0.50 and negative 3,2. So again, same idea, find your slope. It's also important to know that when you do your slope, you have to make sure that your y2 and x2 always sit on top of each other. So you get negative 1/4. Anytime I have a point with a 0, I always pick that point because anything with 0 is always easier. So anytime I have a point that has a 0, I pick that point. Remember that when you distribute, a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, and last point. So again, I said it doesn't matter what order you subtract to find your slope as long as you stack them. So I could actually do negative 1 minus 17 over negative 2 minus a negative 10. As long as I do the same point first and second. So you get negative 18 over positive 8, which is the same as negative 9 over 4. And then you plug in with either point. So it'd be y minus a minus 1, which is plus 1. Negative 9/4. X minus a minus 2, which is plus 2. Distribute and subtract. So you get negative 9/4 x minus 2 times 9 is 18. Fourths minus 1. Well, 18 fourths minus 1 is really like 18 minus 4 over 4. So you get y equals negative 9 fourths x minus 22 over 4. And if you wanted to reduce your fraction, it was negative 9 fourths x minus 11 halves. Okay, your homework is the following page in that note guide. So your homework should be on page 87. That should be like 1 to 4, and then jump 8 to 21.